Hey guys, this is UC. Just wanted to make a quick clip on scalp trading, right? I sometimes post those trades, and a few people reached out and asked, how do you scalp? So again, there's not a definitive answer. Everybody finds their own sweet spot. They can identify patterns. They can have a different strategy to trade on a particular key level. You can bounce trade, reject, breakout. So it all depends. But let's say, I'll give you a few examples of my scalping strategy, and maybe you can resonate with that and see if it fits within your thought process, and kind of go with that. So let's take a few examples. Okay, so if I go to the Discord, Friday charts, let's take for example QQQ, right? So the level, it was opening around 360 or something like that. So the first level down was 357.9, right? We had an overnight low, so that means it had some significance, and then we have these couple of touch points in the prior days that it was getting rejected from, and then once it broke out above that, the price exactly tested that level. So that level had some significance. So that was a good candidate for a scalp trade to go sort of a bounce trade right around that area. So let's see how QQQ opened up, and then we'll check that out. So QQQ, let's get into, let's take a 2-minute chart, right? Let's go to Friday morning, right here, right? So it opened up 9:30 around, somewhere around, I think 360 or something like that, and then it just went down. So 357.9 was the level we were looking for. So let's say, where did it go in the first few minutes, 20 minutes or something like that? So the low of this bar is exactly 357.9. I think that is what it was on the chart, right? 357.9. Now, you could have or you could not have gotten a fill, but exactly the thought process was it touched that level twice, right? And then it bounced almost $1.50 or something like that. And from the second time, it went way up, like almost $3, right? So what you do is, again, I usually scalp using the shares, not a whole lot with options. If I do with options, it would be in the money option because I like a higher delta. And with scalping, the thing is, you are trying to go with higher size. You're trying to be precise with your entry. So you have to have a very tight stop loss and a defined risk and reward, right? Usually it should be whatever you're risking, you should try to aim to make more than that, like 1.5 to 2 times your risk, right? I like to use bracket orders here. So let's say you're trying to buy QQQ on the dip towards 357.9. You can define, I have different templates. So let's say you pick a 4 and 2, right? 4 and 2 means I'm going to place the trade at 357. Usually you can do even numbers, but the thing with even numbers is that, or round numbers, is that there's a lot of, maybe orders sitting there sometimes, and it doesn't not get a fill. So you can either put like few cents up or few cents down, just depending on how everything is moving. But let's say you would have put that at, let's say 357.95, whatever, right? So this is how it shows up, the bracket order, and then you can just adjust it to say, okay, I'm gonna give it $1 risk, and I'm only going to try to make $2 out of it, right? So that's your bracket order. Now, as soon as it gets filled, these two orders gets submitted, and whichever gets executed first, the stop order or your target order, the other one gets canceled, right? It's an OCO order. One cancels the other. And you can always adjust it. Let's say the price was moving up and you're like, okay, I don't want to take more risk now. If it goes against me, you can always raise your stop loss to wherever you want. Once it gets executed, you can even move your target price, or if you want to trail it, you keep moving it up, keep moving your stop loss up, so on and so forth. So that is how you can time a bounce trade using these key levels. Of course, there are other ways to do that by reading a price chart, looking at patterns, 15-minute, 30-minute bars. You're like, okay, for example, we played the breakdown, and the way I played the breakdown was that in a 30-minute bar in NQ, I shorted NQ. So the way I was reading it was that we saw this move down, right at the open. Then the stock the market tried to go back up. It couldn't get above 360.7. We got a top wick, and as soon as the next 30-minute bar started, it tried to go up, but then I just love this pattern, this one right here. You know, when you have two top wicks and this one closes right here and the 30-minute wants to go up but it can't and it just goes down, you just short it right here with the stop loss right above the high of 30-minute, and then, you know, it's all a nice flush to the downside. Okay, so on and so forth, right? For example, NVIDIA. So a NVIDIA chart, let's say on Monday, right, a good scalping opportunity can be where we have these multiple touch points where the stock price was finding difficulty to get above, but once it got above that, you know, we saw a nice breakout, and now it's just kind of, you know, in a controlled downward manner. So now what you can look for is a scalp long bounce trade, you know, depending on where it opens at 270.3, right? You can place a buy order right there, let's say 3 to 1.5, right? 270.3. Oops, my bad. You can, and then you can adjust it to say, okay, somewhere up or down depending on whatever. So right now it's a $1.5 risk to make $3, right? Or you can always just put it down a little bit so that in case the price overshoots this level, you know, you can just try to buy it even further down. Again, you're trying to be precise, so you might or might not get a fill. You might have to adjust the price, or you don't have to, or you're like, hey, I'm just gonna buy it there. If it does not get a fill, that's fine with me. That's my risk. So that's how it needs to be traded, scalping at the key levels, right? Using a bracket order, highly recommended it. And since with the scalping strategy, you are going with a higher size, bigger size, so you want to make sure that you don't get it, you don't let it get out of your hands by just letting that position float for a longer time if it starts going against you, because then that can be catastrophic, where, you know, you can end up taking more loss than you had originally intended for. So that's how I trade on these key levels for scalping. So you can try that. If you want to try the options, as a scalping opportunity, what then I would personally recommend, since, you know, the price will dip down fast toward a key level and then it would just immediately go back up. So manually trying to buy an option at that price, sure, you can try that, but you just have to stick around looking at the screen to wait for the price to come to that level. But if you don't want to do that, you can just always make a some sort of a conditional order, right? So for example, you can say NVIDIA at 270.3. So what you can do is something like NVIDIA, if it comes to 270.3, I want to buy a 275C, right? So you can say something like buy two, and then you can just put a conditional order, make a conditional order to say, okay, buy 5 contracts of NVIDIA, and you define the condition by saying when NVIDIA mark price is, let's say, less than or equal to 270.4, and then you just say save, and then when you submit that order, you know, oh, cannot be in the time in the past, sorry, my bad. I don't have to do this one right here. So there you go. Now, so now when you place the order, right, confirm and send, that order is sent, the order, and now if you go back, you will see this order entry floating, and basically it will only get executed when the price touches 270.3 level. It will go by 275C at the market price at, you know, there and then. And as soon as it gets executed, you can always create an advanced order to say, hey, if I get a fill, sell it, you know, 20% up or plus $2 or whatever. Or if the NVIDIA touches 272.5 after my execution, sell my contracts back, right? Or take a stop loss that if it starts going below 268.8 or something like that. So you can do all those things, automate those things, but you just have to be precise and have a tight stop loss on these things. That's how you can scalp. Okay, hope you guys like this little video. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thanks.